T-Mobile and Sprint are merging. Joining me now on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange are T-Mobile CEO John Legere and Sprint CEO Marcelo Claure. Great to see you both.
Great to see you. We're happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. So we know that T-Mobile and Sprint have reportedly been in merger talks several times over the past few years. What changed this time around? What made these talks successful?
Sure, Marcelo, you want to start?
So now is the right time. We've been discussing this with John, and we figured out that the U.S. needs 5G. We've looked at our spectrum position, and we decided that right now is the time to put these companies together to go build the world's most advanced 5G network. That's one. Secondly, the market is ready. The U.S. is behind China today from a 5G perspective, and the only two companies that can make it happen because of our spectrum position is if we put T-Mobile and Sprint together. So the time is now, and we're ready to go do it.
So you're saying this is not just a good deal for both companies, it's a good deal for America.
It's not just a good deal for America, it's critical for America. And that's one of the reasons I'm so confident about this deal being approved, is that American policy needs to support things that will spur innovation in the 5G cycle, or we're behind. What's happening right now is, do you know that the 4G economy, so the mobile economy driven by 4G, was about $3.3 trillion in 2016, spurred by what America did in 4G with our leadership. 5G is going to be an era that should drive 3 million American jobs, $275 billion in investment, $500 billion in economic value. And right now, we're behind. We're way behind, and we're possibly losing our leadership to China or South Korea. What we're going to do together is we're going to put together the world's first complete broadband network nationwide using 600 and 2.5, and that's dramatically different. So not only will that bring this to America, but we think it's going to cause the others to step up their game and step up their investment. I would suspect it could drive 20 billion of more investment by our competitors in addition to the 40 billion that we plan to invest.
Yeah, how much of that 40 billion is for 5G?
Well, the majority of it, right? Because if you look at what we're doing with the company, the majority of every dollar that's going in will be the integration and the creation of two network capabilities, right? So between us, we have 110,000 macro sites. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the 75,000 that are perfectly matched. We're going to add 10,000, we'll have 85,000 macro sites and 50,000 small cells. And then what we do is we go back in and we put the T-Mobile spectrum on all the Sprint Keep sites, and we put the Sprint 2.5 on all the T-Mobile sites, and then you have this massive capability. Very important in that AT&T and Verizon don't have free spectrum to use for 5G. So they have two choices, and this is what's happening in America. They either need to kick their customers off LTE and then use it for 5G, which they can't do, or the millimeter wave spectrum that they're using now for their fixed broadband. In order to deploy that nationwide, you would need 6 million nodes at 250,000 each, 1.5 trillion. They don't have the money. So we're all going to step up our game, and this is a big wake-up call.
And you say this deal is going to create jobs, but we know there are going to be $6 billion worth of synergies. So where do those cuts come?
Just let me add a little to what John says. We're doing this merger today because we both need each other. Sprint couldn't build this network without T-Mobile, and T-Mobile couldn't build this network without Sprint. And that's how most great partnership or most mergers are done. That's one. How we're going to create jobs, or where the synergy is coming from, mainly from the network. If you think about it, today we run two parallel networks in order for us to offer the service to our customers. Now we combine the network, and most synergies. Number one synergy creator is that we're going to have one network, one set of IT system, one set of back office system. Secondly, this is a growth story. When we're going to have the same coverage as AT&T and Verizon, we're going to new places where neither Sprint nor T-Mobile were before. So when we go to those new places, we open up stores, we hire people, and we create a lot of new jobs. Third is T-Mobile has a different philosophy than a Sprint. We at a Sprint, in our cost reduction mode, we took a lot of jobs overseas. T-Mobile believes in bringing their care jobs back to the U.S. We have tens of thousands of jobs overseas that we plan to bring back to the U.S. This is why this is one of the few mergers in history that you can say we're going to be net job positive on day one, and we plan to hire, listen to these, tens of thousands of people in the first 3 years. So this is going to be a great job story.
Still, the big question, though, is what's going to happen to the consumer's bill? Is it going to go up?
Hold on. So as soon as we finish this wonderful tour of talking to everybody here, we're on our way to Washington. right? For the first of many highly anticipated ways to go have these dialogues. Now, when you stand here and you make the kind of statements that we're making, you know you're going to have to go into the FCC and the DOJ and show the econometric models, so you don't say these things lightly. There will be more jobs on day one in the two companies and forward than in the companies separately, right? Prices will go down. So the Un-carrier, who we both have been part of creating that philosophy, with the new speeds and capabilities, we're going to offer more services, better competition in rural America, broadband alternatives, faster speeds, and lower prices. So you can't just say those things and then stroll down to Washington. We are going to show where the jobs are. Now, to your point, when you invest $40 billion over 3Gs in your network, 5G, you're going to impact a lot of the country in the economies in small parts of America. We are going to open hundreds of stores in rural America, create jobs in rural America, expand call centers. There may be some rationalization in back office functions or sales, but the net of those is up. And
rationalization meaning?
Well, no, we don't know. Like, for example, we added 27,000 people last year, and what we've got to do, which we have not even thought about yet, right? We own Sprint, T-Mobile, Metro PCS.
Which you added jobs at Metro.
Huh?
You added jobs at Metro.
Thank you for bringing that up. Well, Metro PCS we merged 5 years ago. Today, there are twice as many customers, 3 times as many employees, and that brand is alive and vibrant. It's the #1 prepaid brand. And the integration was done in 2 years, although they said it was 3, and we delivered $10 billion in synergies, but we committed to 6. So yes, and the network integrations in the cities of LA and New York, for example, with Metro, are about the same size as the kind of integrations we have to do. So our track record on jobs and on integrations is clear.
But still, it's not like it's two obscure oil companies merging. Everyone knows who these companies are.
Cool?
Do the optics, though, of that make it tougher to get the blessing of regulators?
The main optics is pricing, right? The reason why we can make commitment that we're going to lower pricing, the fundamentals of 5G are predicated on a lower cost per bit. So when you have a factory that's going to be producing bits at a lower cost, then that affords you to basically lower prices. Not too many CEOs are willing to stand up on the first day of their merger and make a commitment to the American consumer that we're going to give you the best products and the best service at lower prices. You usually don't hear that. People save that argument for the end. We're pretty upfront in saying best product, best prices, more jobs. Whenever you look at a merger, I think that's what America is looking for. So this is good for America, this is good for consumers, this is good for shareholders. So we think this is a really good transaction.
By the way, don't confuse big brands with big companies, right? When you look at this brand and you look at this brand, do you think the same things as when you see the Comcast brand or the AT&T brand or Verizon? Or in those, do you first thought is big, focused on self, not on customers, being dragged to innovation? When you look at our brands, you think of us and our companies and the fact that we're fighting to help consumers. Our big message going to Washington, and these pink sneakers and shirt will roll right in there because it's part of who we are that says, hey, everything you came to count on from us, you can count on double. And part of what we do is we make those other guys wake up, invest more. Our goal is not to be the only one offering lower prices and more services. We want everybody to, and then you win. And that's going to be our commitment.
And John, your competitors have been eyeing content deals. When you and I spoke in February, you wouldn't rule out that possibility. Does this deal increase the chances of a possible content acquisition?
Listen, think about, first of all, with the network that we're going to create and the broadband capabilities that delivers, the first step is that people would be able to use our devices, all sorts of devices, not just phones, but a whole plethora of things that will come with 5G. And we will be a conduit for the content that they want to roll forward. At this point, we don't necessarily see the need to own and control and curate the content that takes place. Think about you want to talk about, I'm going to invest in lower prices, I'm going to invest in jobs, I'm going to invest in the 5G network. Comcast over there, who most people are just held on to, is now sneaking into the wireless business, and their best thought of what to do with the next $30 billion worth of shareholder value is buy a UK-based content company. Does that sound like the best thing for America? I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. It sounds like somebody who's got a mass plan to own and control and drive what customers do, not help them and give them choice and alternative. It's what we're here for.
All right, and then final question. You guys have a colorful history, at least on Twitter, some harsh words for each other. Is that water under the bridge right now?
I don't know. Ask him. He's bigger than me. He might take me out.
Tomorrow, after we are done in Washington, we're still fierce competitors, and we will continue to keep that competitive force inside of us.
And listen, like two good fighters, I think we not only respect what each other have done with the companies, we respect the companies, and we actually respect the way that we compete even on that front. Yeah, we've had our words, we'll have them again, but I think we've created a great working relationship that's very important for the companies that we both run.
All right, quite a day. Marcelo, John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.